What's good in the hood? UFC 324 just wrapped up, and we had an amazing main event. Justin, the highlight, Gaethje defeats Paddy, the baddie Pimblett, in an absolute war. 5 rounds of nearly nonstop violence. And I said it like it was. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I said Justin, he was going to play spoiler. He played spoiler, was it 7, 8 years ago when we were supposed to get Khabib versus Tony? And he played spoiler again when we were expecting Paddy was finally going to achieve his dreams and get to fight for undisputed gold against Ilia the Matador Topuria. And as the rumors had suggested, that was originally the plan in the get-go, but Ilia had other unforeseen plans when he got sent into divorce hearings. So Justin was called in, despite the cries of Arman Sarukian. Justin was called in, and let's call it like it is. The expectation was Justin, he's a little older. He's been through wars, wear and tear. Like I said, he's 9-5 the UFC, so he's experienced many losses. And Paddy was undefeated going into this fight, at least in the UFC. And I don't know, I feel like the expectation, and frankly, Dana's expectation, was that it was going to be entertaining, and it was. So very good for the Paramount era. This is absolutely important for them as they start a new era, to have this be the end to their first we'll say numbered event. But yeah, I feel like the expectation was that everyone thought Justin's a little older. He, like I said, he got finished by Holloway, was it 2 fights ago, this and that. It just felt like Paddy was the more well-rounded fighter. He had momentum on his side, and they wanted him to win. They wanted him to beat Justin as a very credible name to secure the interim belt and build up for a super fight versus Ilia, hopefully around the White House. And Justin said, no, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to push the pace, and I'm going to stop this scouser. And while he didn't get the finish, he did a lot of damage in this fight, and he took some damage himself. It was not smooth sailings. I mean, from the get-go, Paddy was diversifying his strikes, and I mean, I can't always trust these stat numbers, but let's see, by target, I mean, Justin, clearly, he always employs his leg kicks. He has some, body work he'll do, but for the most part, 83% of his strikes were head strikes. I mean, he was out there to knock Paddy out, and it showed on his face. On the flip side, Paddy, he did a damn good job too. I mean, strike-wise, total strikes, I mean, it was close, 200 to 170, and supposedly Paddy outlanded him on significant strikes, but obviously significant strikes doesn't tell the full story. Again, the face, all that, and the fact that Justin, his damage output was ridiculous. I mean, every round he was putting Paddy, and Paddy's chin would go out. He would be circling out this and that. He'd be looking behind his neck, and Justin would be chasing him down with hooks left and right, the uppercuts in the clinch. It was phenomenal, especially like I said, with the idea that Justin might retire if he couldn't get the job done, and it sounds like he'll retire if he takes a loss this year. But he did what he needed to do, and like I said, he pushed the pace, and I feel like that was the biggest X factor of this fight, was the fact that Justin was able to constantly, and he said this, I believe, is after in his Octagon interview after, the game plan was put Paddy on the back foot and really push him, head first in that chest, which he didn't always do. There was a lot of times where Justin was dipping his head, and he was getting caught with the flying knees here and there. But for the most part, Justin he was constantly pressuring Paddy, and it felt like Paddy was not able to kind of get his rhythm off. He was definitely, like I said, getting diversified striking. But, I mean, Justin just constantly got him against the cage, and every time he got him against the cage, he could do some clinch work to get those uppercuts. And then he would always catch Paddy. It felt like on the break, Paddy was not fast enough to get that chin out of space when Justin would chase him. And when he hit Paddy, I mean, the reaction showed it. Paddy, obviously, one of the best chins now after this fight, you could argue, in the UFC. And I love the lovemaking they made it then. But I mean, I said this before too, my prediction, that Justin is heavily favored, I feel like, in the scoring, because of the fact that they scored damage first, and they've been doing a better job at it. So if they're scoring damage first, and like I said, you look at Paddy's face and you look at those reactions, sure, Paddy might have outstruck him, and even round by round, it was close. I mean, round 1, outside the knockdown, it was pretty much dead even on strikes, and he got more significant strikes because, again, he was diversifying with the leg kicks more and the body kicks, where those are kind of significant. So in theory, he outstruck, Justin round 1. But again, Justin got the knockdown. And every time Justin would be headhunting, he would actually garner a pretty noticeable reaction from Paddy, and the judges see that. So I'm not surprised that Justin won. Was it one judge 3-2, and then two judges 49-46? And yeah, I mean, I think this there was a lot of storylines both in the fight, like I said, with the whole pressure game from Justin. There was a little bit, I don't want to say cheating, but there was the eye pokes. I think there was 2 eye pokes that Justin caused. They each gave each other a groin strike, but there was a big asterisk on the fact that when Justin got the first eye poke, they gave Paddy some time, but the second one, I believe it was in round 2, he eye poked him, and then Justin got like a 2 as Paddy was trying to complain, dropped Paddy, and then they reviewed it between the rounds, and they didn't give Paddy like any rest time, and also he didn't get a point because it was the second foul. With the nut strikes, I believe it was round 3 where Paddy was putting some heat on Justin, gave him a nut shot, which was pretty legitimate. And Justin took about like a minute, but it was enough to recover and reset that momentum where, now Paddy was, and he won that round. He won round 3. That was definitely the clearest round, but obviously it reset the danger zone. But I believe it was round 4 where Justin hit Paddy with a nut strike, and Paddy grinched and he did all that. And the ref was like, keep fighting. I don't think that's like enough grounds to be like, oh my God, like Paddy got screwed over by judging this and that, and Justin's a dirty fighter. At the end of the day, it could have been the reverse side. Paddy could have been eye poking Justin. Justin's been the receiving end of that. Cough, cough, Michael Chandler. But I mean, at the end of the day, Justin came in with a game plan. And also, I want to put a point too, is he's a wrestler, and is kind of bananas that for the most part, he was dominating. I mean, he got 3 takedowns to 0 for Paddy, but it felt like he was dominating the clinch. He was obviously dominating the grappling. He got the takedowns. He got some takedowns too when he was in danger. He would catch Paddy's kicks in this, that, and put him in the back foot of that. And I really liked, he did this like 2 or 3 times in the fight. He would get this like front headlock, and he would use that definitely because it's like a good resting period, but it stinks for Paddy because it's like he's wearing on your neck and all that, and the weight and all that, the gravity. Was it 9.8 meters per second squared? But Justin was also, he would get punches in there too, and I feel like since he's got so much power already, I feel like he was still generating a decent amount of power where he'd rock Paddy, he'd lock in that front headlock, and he would just be like railing on the side, and after like 6 or 7 of those, Paddy would have to like kind of like abruptly get up, not to mention his coach is screaming, get up, stand. Easier said than done when you're against a collegiate wrestler that out of nowhere decides to show his wrestling credentials. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Justin proved everyone wrong. And even deep down, I didn't think it would be this, I want to say, pronounced and clear. But I mean, for the most part, I think Justin was fully in the driver's seat, and it showed with their face. I mean, Justin definitely knows was wearing this and that, and he had some swelling. But like Paddy looked like he went through a car accident. I wish there was this image does some due diligence. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I have mixed. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a sport, and a business. So I'm happy that Justin, seems to still be at the peak of his abilities, and now he's getting hopefully his final opportunity to realize his dreams, and I hopefully does it. But it's rough for Paddy because, like I said, Dana obviously was pushing Paddy to fight Ilia. That was a big fight, and now that seems to be assuming Ilia doesn't, get destroyed in the divorce hearings and get dragged that out for the rest of the year. Assuming this can happen around the White House, it really puts how should I put it? Yeah, like a roadblock in the Paddy project. I mean, he's obviously a big star in the UK, but he's probably a big star, I would say, worldwide, US, etc. I mean, he has a big name. They've been clearly trying to push him, and Justin was his toughest fight, and it showed that Paddy, he has heart, and I don't think his stock drops too much, but he's got to go back to the drawing board. I mean, he's completely out of the title picture. He's going to need a win, probably 2 wins, to get back into at least an undisputed, because assuming there's no interim when he eventually gets back into title contention, because they'll be unified at that point. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have to get now 2 wins, and he's got to get a win against, like I said, one of those legitimate top 5 names, be it Max, Charles, Justin, obviously Armin. So until he can get that win, like it just feels like he's outside that, that elite competition level. And it's tough, but I mean, he's young, he's 31, so it is what it is. But I mean, you look at the rankings and it's like Arman, that's going to be a tough matchup if he takes that fight. And I don't know if Arman's going to want to take that fight after the dousing he did on Twitter. Charles and Max are booked, I believe, in March. So timing wise, that could be the case because Paddy should probably take 3 to 4 months off before he starts, getting back into the neck of like a training camp. So Charles and Max could be in the works. I don't think he deserves the winner of that. He should probably take the loser, probably the safe bet. But that's a big name, and they'll still be a top 5 contenders. So that'd be good for him. Like I said, obviously he just lost to Justin. Paddy can't fight Paddy. Dan Hooker, they have some beef, and Dan's fighting, I believe, Benoit Saint Denis in January. So timing wise, that actually, assuming that like those guys want to do a quick turnaround, if they fight in like January, then yeah, I mean, maybe book that around closer to like June, July, that kind of period for Paddy versus like maybe the winner of that, especially if it's Dan. But I mean, yeah, I think he's got to really go back and, like I said, definitely work on some of his defense. Like I said, they keep saying, "Oh, chin, this and that," and I'll borrow an idea from Mr. MMA Euro, MMA Lord, MMA Euro collab. Who knows? But yeah, MMA Euro was pointing out that like when Paddy would dip away from the cage, especially after like getting clinched by Justin or backed up, he'd like run away or he'd circle, but like his head would be like turned back, like, which I get what he's trying to do in the sense of like you still want to keep a tab on Justin so you can react. But I mean, damn, like I don't know, it doesn't seem like it was wise, especially with Justin being able to catch him for the most part, even with the assumption that Justin would be slower. He still seemed to be able to catch him, especially when he would intentionally get the clinch and then chase for a strike on the break. And I don't know. I think Paddy's goes back and work on some of that fine-tuned details, but also he's got to, and maybe he'll go about this afterwards and explain like why he wasn't like pushing the grappling more. But it was just strange that if you look too, he attempted 5 takedowns. Let's see, 1 in the first, 0 in the second, 0 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 3 in the fifth. And the 3 in the fifth were literally because if you go look in the corner, they were like, you need a finish, and they didn't expect him to get it on the feet. So they were like, you have to push for a takedown, go for the trip, which he did, but he couldn't get it, probably because he was at that point pretty beat up. And Justin still was fresh enough where he was aware of what Paddy was intending to do. But I think he's got to push that grappling. I mean, sure, he got the takedown against Chandler. Chandler's a good wrestler. Raf, Chandler's got a W there, but I think that it just exposed the fact that, and I alluded to this too, that Justin was taken down and dominated by Charles Oliveira. Sure, he was rocked in that fight, and Habib. But those two are, upper echelons away from where Paddy is when it comes to the grappling, let alone the wrestling ability. And yeah, it showed. Paddy needs to, I think, refine that game. And if he ends up, like I said, saying that he chose to stand and bang with Justin early on in the fight for the fans and all that, props to him. And like I said, showed his heart. But I mean, brother, if you're trying to win gold, you got to play smarter. And it just felt like he didn't push that enough. And maybe that's just because like Justin's just better at the clinch and was able to dictate the pace, which even though Paddy was bigger, it felt like Justin just, not just because, again, he was pressuring, it just felt like he was able to muscle and just push around Paddy wherever he felt, and especially in the clinch, control it. But like I said, yeah, we have obviously Ilia versus Justin. Dana, like I don't want to say he's fuming because it's like a double-edged sword. Justin did what he needed to do, and he put on an entertaining fight, so it's great for Paramount, right? It's awesome for Paramount. But on the flip side, he didn't want Justin to not just win, but also like put a real beating on Paddy, where now Paddy, like I said, the brakes are put on there. You have to kind of reset and be like, well, how do we get Paddy back into position where he can fight for the belt? Well, he's going to have to fight 1 or 2, maybe someone, like I said, the number 7, number 8, someone like a Dan Hooker, and then go out and fight like a Max Holloway or Charles. So that was kind of rough. And then on top of it, if you've kept up with the news, Justin obviously before this was like crapping on the fact that Dana doesn't pay enough and this and that. And then Dana went out and was like, we offered Justin money. He didn't call us back, which is bananas to hear that. And the fact that Justin was like playing the bad boy leading up to this and then goes out there and just destroys Paddy, disrupts their super fight that they wanted in the first place. And now they have to book this. Like, generally speaking, Interim champs usually get what they want. So yeah, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I think this is still a fun fight. Do I think Ilia is at risk of losing to Justin? Probably not. I think he's definitely gonna be faster, has equal or higher damage output than Justin, and I feel like he'll be smart enough to use wrestling with his background than Paddy attempted, especially early in the fight if he feels like Justin is getting the better of him on the feet. But I hope to God that Justin can finally, realize his goals. But it is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was this a good pay-per-view? Were you surprised at Justin's performance, or were you surprised more that Paddy didn't shine when the lights were brightest? Let me know in the comments and subscribe if you want to see more.